Welcome to the Christian's Weight Success Podcast. I am Christian Evans. In 2015, I launched my blog, christiansweightsuccess.net, to answer the question of how I lost 187 pounds. I'm currently a personal trainer in Peoria, Illinois, and as a personal trainer, I'm the one you look to for inspiration, but even I need motivation. I have my ups and downs in this fitness journey, just like you. And in this podcast, I'll share with you details of my personal life, diet, and workouts. So thank you for subscribing to this podcast. In today's podcast episode, we have a special guest, Mrs. Zhivi Williams of lbxfitness.com. Please welcome Miss Zhivi. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Miss Zhivi is I run a group on Facebook called Success Fitness Family. And for the past, I would say 6 to 8 months that I've really been kind of honing in on it, she is the first one to post every single morning, starting the mornings off with Monday. Well, not Monday, but even if it is a Monday motivation, early motivation, and gives out pretty much workouts that you can do right along with her. And I'm just amazed by it, the consistency and the dedication of it. And it's more the motivation for everybody who sees and who's woke, and they can obviously replay it when it's time. And I just wanted to just have her here on this podcast. We have rarely exchanged messages before, so I'm learning her as you, the listener, are learning of her. And I just wanted to highlight and celebrate and ask her a couple questions and pick her brain a little bit, but I'll stop doing so much talking because I'm excited to have a guest on my podcast. So Miss Zhivi Williams, can you tell everybody else where you're from, how you got started, and as far as making these videos, and if whatever services you offer, and a little bit more about lbxfitness.com.
Yes, of course. So my name is Zhivi Williams, as Christian said, and gosh, I'm actually from Illinois. So I'm from Oak Park, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. Mm-hmm. I have lived in North Carolina since '98. So I moved here to go to grad school and never went back. So, but oh my God. Sorry. So I have been really athletic. Let me put it that way. I've been athletic since I was in 4th grade. I was diagnosed with a learning disability, and the doctors told my mom the best way to help me was to put me in a sport. Right. So no medication, mm-hmm. Nothing that probably doctors are doing now. It was my motor skills had not developed well. And so that basically is what helped. The sports is what helped me. So my mom put me in sports in 4th grade. I've been in it ever since. Mm-hmm. Maybe a few years, like a couple years off and on. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And so that's basically where I started. And then in 2014, I think it was, is when I started my LBX fitness business. And so that came out of basically God just telling me to start it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I was so excited. And I was like, okay, by that point, have never really been overweight except for being pregnant. I've been pregnant twice and lost both babies at 34 weeks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And so I know the ups and downs of gaining the weight from pregnancy and then having to lose it. And then you're probably getting stuck at a certain weight and like, I can't get this off. So I know that side of the story. And then, so from there, I really just started working back out. Like I was kind of off a little bit as far as working out and eating healthy. When you're younger, like in your 20s, in my late 20s, like early 30s, you kind of think like you can eat whatever you want. So I was working out, eating whatever I wanted until I got to the late 30s and the 40s. And now I'm in my late 40s. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way anymore. Yeah. So I actually started doing my videos. Somebody I know on Facebook was doing 30-day challenges. And I joined her 30-day challenges. They were just free. Every day we do something. And one day I just decided, hey, I'm going to record these, mm-hmm. and just post them on Facebook just in case somebody wants to do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there kicked off the videos.
Okay.
And then I started doing my own 30-day challenges. And then I just started doing the workouts just free, right?
Right.
Keeping them to 30 minutes a day. And then making sure anyone can do them, you know? So for me personally, I've always liked to give people a no excuse,
right?
Which basically means I'm going to use a chair in the workouts. I'm going to show you how to do modified versions. I tell you, you don't have to do what I'm doing, right? Do what you can to do the best. If you need to take breaks, then take them, and then just jump back in. I even give people different levels. So like, for example, level 1, you're doing 3 rounds, and level 2, you're doing 4 to 5, and level 3, you're doing 6 to 7. So, you know, just always thinking about what people may say, like, oh, I have bad knees.
Yeah.
And then for the bad knees, I'm like, don't go as low, you know. So I have some show people into modifications and sitting in chairs, and you know, and then I do the full exercises as well.
Right. So you make it so everybody has at least a chance to do it. That's important. That's important. Right. So explain to me a little bit more about LBX Fitness.
So with LBX Fitness, what I do right now actually is the 30-day challenges. I do have an accountability coaching program. And so for my accountability coaching program, what I do with individuals, I meet with them once a week. We go over basically a plan, right? So I tell them, look, I need you just to be more as realistic as possible with me as you can. And so with that, basically I tell them, so, you know, everybody's like, I want to work out 5 days a week. And my number one question is, how long have you been working out? Have you been working out for 5 days a week? Then no, I haven't been. Okay, so let's be more realistic. How long can you work out? Right. And then I have to, like, how many days? Is it just like 1 or 2 days to start? And then how long can you work out? I want to work out for an hour. Well, how long are you working out now? Right. I'm not. Let's start with 15 minutes. Right. And then we could go, you know, so that's my accountability. And they have to check in once a week. I don't do meal plans, but I will give them a suggested food plan to follow, because I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist. Okay. So I give them a suggestion. Can you say that one more time? That honestly just brought a little bit of joy to my heart. And I say that because that is one of the number one questions and requests I get asked. And it's from that exact angle of what you're talking about, because people see you promoting health and fitness, and they do come to you and say, well, hey, you know, I want to work out for an hour and stuff like that. Oh. I wish I could work out for an hour. You know what I mean? Because it's whatever, that's all other different subject. But you get that, and then immediately follows up to give me a meal plan and stuff like that. And just from, say, business person to business person, is that you know the market of personal training, you know how much things cost, and you also know that the separate service of an actual dietitian or nutritionalist. And it just kind of just puts you into the mindset of, you know, if you can kind of question the personal training price, then what are you going to say to the nutrition standpoint? And it's good that you have that you're giving transparency and honesty, and you tell people that, because I tell them that too. And I thought that I was more I can't say dismissive, and I don't want to come off rude, but it's kind of but it's kind of hard. But by you just saying that, you know, made me feel a little bit more ease by you saying that, because I tell them that same thing too, as that I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist. I can't prescribe you a meal plan. I can give you a suggestion, like, hey, check this article out. You know, this is how most people do it, or whatever. So just explain that a little bit more. That was, I'm more selfish on that one for me, because that just made me feel good. I'm like, okay, somebody else is going through that along with me. Sure. So what I did was, I do have like a and you probably know this, like, you know, like different like ACE or some other places, they have like a nutrition program, right? But it's not that you're going to end up being a dietitian or a nutritionist. So I do have a certification in that. But what I had to do was I had to go deeper into the research of it. And then I had to look at what the state was saying. And so basically it was, if I have this nutritional certificate, what I can do is I can suggest what people can eat, but I cannot, like you said, I can't prescribe them. I cannot actually do a meal plan for them, right? Because I have not been trained or taught how to do that. And I want to stay away from as much trouble as I possibly can. You know, and then some people are like, well, you know, their thinking process might be, oh, well, you know, like the state's never going to find out. But what happens when they do find out? Do you know what I mean? So I take that. And so I do. I suggest. I always do some suggestions. So sometimes what I do is I do have a list of foods that people can eat. Right? It's just a list. Here's a list, and you can pick foods from these lists.
Yeah, right.
You know, so you can eat foods from this list.
Yep.
I don't like the word diet, but then, like, you know, a lot of people like keto diet and all these other things. And so, like in my 30-day challenge, I suggested this time around, well, maybe you can try the Mediterranean diet. It's a little bit easier. Just always do your research if you're like a diabetic or you have some kind of health issue. Just make sure you do your research, because there's certain things you're probably not going to be able to eat.
Right.
And so I like to do it that way. The other thing I personally do is, even though I make these suggestions, like with my accountability coaching, I always tell them, send me a picture of the food you eat. And I do that because people are more conscious to eat healthier if they got to take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
So my feeling is like, people know what they should and should not eat. Usually it's the opposite of whatever you eat to gain weight, right? Right. And so I like to tell people sometimes it's really the opposite of whatever you usually like to eat, right? You already know what that is. You know you got to cut back on sugar. You know you got to cut back on fried foods. You know you got to cut back on all these snacks and things like that. And it amazes me now that people just don't use Google.
Yes. Like, you know, and it's so hard to not come off as rude when, you know, you do get inboxes. You may post something, you may post a supplement of food or something like that. And again, being that we are in the health and fitness field, the number one question or one of the first responses to anything, if I'm putting up on the stories, is, does this help you lose weight? And sometimes it could just be just a plate of broccoli and a steak, you know what I mean? It's really not that deep, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, you want to say, hey man, just Google the benefits. And it's hard to not kind of come off rude, like in this day and age where you can just read a text and you can just read it out of context. But from personal experiences, you know, the saying, I'm starting to understand that a little bit more now as I'm getting older. You know, I've forgot more than you've ever learned. It's when I did go through my weight loss transformation years ago, everything that I ate, literally, I just Googled, what are the benefits of this? You know, and read up on 3 different articles. And I knew then, you know, what it is as far as, you know, whatever I was eating. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I had the inclination to just use Google. You know, what are the benefits of that? So if anybody's listening or watching, if it's anything, just Google the simple question to ask Google. What are the benefits of whatever you're eating? Whatever you have a question on, whatever you see somebody posting, what are the benefits of cabbage? What are the benefits of ginger root? What are the benefits of too much sugar? What are the benefits of not eating too much sugar? You have the answers in your hand, or you know, at a computer. And to you know, rely on us, it's cool, but more than likely we're probably going to tell you that just so we know that it has nothing to do with, oh, I don't feel like it. Has everything to do with empowering you to have that information at your hand, so you know, and you get into the habit of doing that. You get in the habit of asking the questions of, what are the benefits of this? What are the benefits of that? I mean, if you really want to be technical, 90% of things that you eat can be beneficial to your health one way or another. You know, we have to ask a little bit more questions, you know, what's your, you know, calorie intake, you know, what are your carb intake allowances, you know, what diet are you doing, all that. But one way or another, it's beneficial to some extent. But that's where we, you know, suggest to you, use Google. Use Google. It's okay.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize, like, people have asked me questions. It's so funny, and I'm going to just be transparent. People have asked me questions, and I got to go Google it, right? Yeah. I have to go Google the answer, because I'm not Google. Like, I don't have
right.
Like, so it is so, beneficial to have that, because it makes me sometimes think, because now I'm older, oh, card catalog. I mean, when people used to have to go to the library, go to the card catalog, I had to go find a book, where now you just go onto a web browser and type in words.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And I just think that, I try to just really get across to people sometimes, because I like you, I tell people, hey, I am not perfect on this journey. Like, I was working out this morning, and then part of my work, I was like, I want to go back to sleep. Actually,
yes.
I really want to go back to bed. Like, I'm tired this morning. And then I said, okay, look, because for me personally, if I don't do it now, that means I'm going to do it later. And I'm the type of person who hates to do it later. When later comes, I'll be like, I should do this earlier.
Yep. If something else comes up, I gotta go to the store. I gotta conveniently Windex this window that really doesn't really need, like, it should have been done later or whatever. But I'm the same exact way. Like, this is around prime time when I work out, and it's just really staying on discipline to say, well, okay, you know what? I did commit to this hour of time for this. And then I did commit to myself this next hour. You got to work out. Don't put anything else afterward. You know what I mean? That is a discipline each person has to go through themselves, and they have to fight it. Irregardless, like you said, it's like, I just want to go back to bed. You know what I mean? It's, it's the fall here in the Midwest, and it's starting to get a little cold. You just want to just snuggle up and, drink your coffee and watch some Hulu or Netflix or whatever. It's easy to do that, but it's more like, you know what? Let's just get it over with. You can do that again. I mean, you can lay down and chill out or whatever. It's your day off, whatever. Just get this done first. Like, whether they're following you for a 30-minute workout, or they follow the next person on YouTube or whoever. You know what I mean? It's, just allow yourself 20 to 30 minutes, a bare minimum, and then after that, like you said, let's see if how long you are working out now, if you want to reach to that 60-minute goal, that hour goal.
Yeah. I will say this too. I just thought about this. When what we tend to do is, and people don't know, we tend to train our bodies what to eat. Now, let me give you a perfect example. So I had taken like a while off of working out, eating whatever I wanted to. I was going, driving to work, and I was eating fast food every day, same time, right? Same time every day, driving to work. And didn't realize until I decided, okay, I'm going to take this journey serious now. I've always liked to work out. So working out was never an issue. Of course, like a lot of people, the food is. So I decided, okay, now how do I stop getting off the highway and going to this fast food restaurant and getting food to eat every day? So I went to like a thrift store, and they had in the thrift store a big like lunch bag. So I said, okay, I'm going to start taking my food with me, not just lunch, but all of my food I'm going to have for the day when I was going to work, right? To the day, I was going to take that with me every day, right? All my snacks, my lunch, my water, I'm taking it with me. And I didn't realize this until I started doing that every time I would get by that exit, I would want to drive off the exit and go to the fast food restaurant. Because I had trained not just my body, but I trained my mind to eat that every day at the same time. And then once I started really focusing in on sticking to what I was eating, it was funny because then I started craving healthy stuff, like craving apples and almond butter, or craving like certain vegetables, and I was like, do I want to eat this vegetable? Why am I craving this vegetable? Like, I'm not craving any sugar, or I'm not a big coffee drinker, so I'm not craving any of those other things. But what we don't realize is we tend to train our bodies to eat certain foods as well. At certain times of the day. So if people were to think about it, you probably drink coffee at the same time every day. If you drink coffee 3 times a day, you probably drink those 3 cups around the same time every day. Right? Maybe because you get a headache, or maybe, your body just knows, oh, hey, it's time for some coffee.
Right.
And now you're going to get coffee. Or if it's a snack, healthy or not, right? So like, you might be at work and you're just used to going at 1 o'clock to get a snack out the vending machine, or maybe out your bag, or healthy or not, you have literally just trained your body and your mind to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when it comes to this journey, because I don't even really like to say weight loss journey, but when it comes to the journey in general, the hardest thing you have to do is train your mind.
Yes.
You have to think a different way, which then causes you to act a different way.
Right.
So those are those you have to battle those thoughts almost on a daily basis. I won't pizza today, but no.
Yeah.
It's
daily.
Yeah. When I first again came back and started being serious, and I was at, well, I mean, I still work, but of course, because of COVID, I'm working at home. But I was going to the office, you know, like everybody else, you know, we having birthday parties. We having cupcakes and cake, and it's only 5 of us in the department, first of all. Right. But we having cake, you know, donuts. I literally started doing things where I would take it home. And then I trained my own coworkers. I said, they're like, are you not done? I said, no, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to take it home. I'm going to leave this for my free day. Mm-hmm. I would literally take my cupcake, put it in the freezer, which is something I wouldn't go into a lot because I meal prepped. Mm-hmm. So now if I'm meal prepping on Sunday, all my food's in the refrigerator, and there's no need for me really to go into the freezer.
Right.
And I would say, like, if it's my free meal day, or my free meal, like my one free meal, I would then eat it then. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do. I like literally train myself to do. I don't do it now, but I did at that time.
I got you.
But you know what I mean? Like,
you had to set up certain barriers, and since you know yourself as you know, it may not be the same way the person over there do it. I do it. You know, your husband do it or whatever. You just know what works for you, and that's very important to know what works for you. And it takes some time. You know, it's not like you know somebody has a blueprint of this is what you should do at this time, and that's why it is very difficult and challenging to prescribe somebody a meal plan because of that said thing. You know what I mean? It's, you know, you got to go into somebody's work schedule, you know, the logistics of their lives in and out, how often they get into the store with fresh food. You know, there's a lot of different things because, you know, people are looking for help, but it has to be some type of accountability on each person to where they don't want somebody to do this, so to do it for them. You know what I mean? So that kind of goes into this next question that I have. It's kind of open ended. You know, being that, you know, the current, you know, global pandemic, can you tell us what your diet and exercise routine was before and what it is now, like pre-COVID diet and exercise routine, and then, you know, post-COVID or current COVID, whatever you want to call it, you know, what that routine is or isn't, what changed, you know, what foods that, you know, you were eating more of or less of or whatever like that.
Yeah, sure. And I'll be open and honest about it. So my workout routine, because I was in the office at work, at lunch, every time I get an hour for lunch, I would literally walk outside for at least 30 minutes. Right. Okay. And so pre-COVID, I would go to the gym. Like I would do my Facebook Live workouts that people would see under 30 minutes. I would literally get off of there and put on my whatever, maybe my coat or whatever, and head out the door and go to the gym. I'm in the gym by 4:00 in the morning.
Okay.
Where there's hardly nobody there, like 3 of us.
Yeah.
I'm in the gym. I leave the gym about 5:30. Right. I come home, and that's basically my workout for the morning. Get dressed, ready for work. Then I leave. I do my 30 minutes at lunch. That's it. Food wise, so that's my workout pre-COVID. Post-COVID, I do not do any walking outside because I don't want to wear a mask. That's just me personally having to exercise. Our gym is back open. I'm not back in the gym because I don't want to work out with a mask on. I've still been doing those same 30-minute workouts before I do my own workout in the morning. So I still get in the morning a good hour and a half. Okay. Hour and a half to hour and 40-minute workout. But the thing about the difference in that is that I'm not doing as much cardio as I was when I was walking outside and doing it in the gym. So there's that. Like there is a difference there. And it's actually pretty huge. And then on top of that, my food, my food is probably about the same. But the big difference is I have picked up some inches. because I'm not moving as much. Like I'm not doing all that walking.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also have had my bouts of bad food, right? Candy
Mm-hmm.
bars. I had bought some ice cream bars, and I was like, "Don't you go back to the store and buy these anymore?" Like eating like almost the whole box in 2 days,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Stuff like that.
Cause you're
And
like, oh, I'll
then
just work it off. I was like, okay, I'll work out. I just do a 2 hour workout. It's nothing to me. And then the next day, you're like, oh, that window needs to be clean. You start
yeah,
putting that off.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my husband does not work out. So like now we have like all these chips and stuff in the house, right?
Uh-huh.
And these little sneaker candy bars. And so it's
Uh-huh.
almost like when you eat one, you're like eating more. And it's almost like, well, this is only so small. And so
Yeah.
I can eat too.
Yeah, you
then,
find justification in it. Yeah.
Yes.
One way or another. Yep.
Yeah. And so I was like, for my own self personally, for the food part, I was like, you have got to get back on track. What are you doing? But for me also, I'm 47. And so I've hit the menopause part where your body just is doing whatever it wants, right? It's picking up body fat wherever it wants to pick up.
Okay.
It's doing like just things that where it was what was normal for me, right, is no longer normal. Like I literally have to look at it and be like, hey, are these things honestly now affecting my journey?
Yeah.
Like, are these foods affecting my journey? Is not doing cardio outside where I was getting vitamin D and the sun and sweating and getting that heart rate up compared to being on the treadmill.
Right.
Indoors, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of basically where my journey's been now. Like people can probably look at me and say, oh, you work out. But me personally, I know like my own body type and I know where I was and come to. And like, you really kind of have to get, these things under control.
Yeah, right. Especially, when you're living with somebody and obviously you're married, and that is another factor that we all have to be honest about and factor into our health and fitness journey is that where your partner is at in that journey. If they're with you, if you're a little bit ahead of them, if you have to motivate them or them, it's that accountability partner. And there's no judgment, in each and everybody's journey and how their system is set up. But it does become a little bit more challenging if the person is not on board with you. And I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been the one to be the demise of my mate. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you want some Burger King today? It's like, you know what I mean? They're not gonna really tell and vice versa. But then there's a point in time where we're both in sync, and that's very important. And you go through those journeys with each other, and you get to see what makes that person tick. My cheat meal may just be some chocolate covered almonds, right? Her cheat meal may be Olive Garden. I can't look at that like, oh, you're getting pasta, but I'm only getting chocolate. You know what I mean? It's if that's their thing, that's their thing, and not to look at it any down. You know what I mean? And mine could be worse because mine is, just full of sugar and fat. You know what I mean? With chocolate and even the fat content of almonds, it's a more dense caloric type of thing. And if you probably look on calorie intake and the amount that I would consume, it'll probably supersede that pasta. You know what I mean? So, we love to point fingers at each other, but we always got one pointing back to us. You already got our thumbs pointing back to us. So it is very important to have, an accountability partner and being on one accord. And if you're not, like you said, you have to know yourself to say, I need to set up these detours or these cones so I can stay in these parameters, because it's a daily struggle. It's a daily fight. Like you said, you could be driving just naturally. You're looking up like, why did I take that exit? Because you had trained your mind at one point in time to go over there, right? So yeah, all that stuff is important. And in this day and age, especially, just being kind of quarantined for the most part, or doing a lot of shelter in place type of activities to a point to where your home life is so important for your mental fires, for your health and fitness journey. And just with that being said, since we're so glued to our phones now, we're obviously on the computer a lot. We're at home, and so we're seeing all these images on television and on our phones, with just the current state of America, through, it's voting season right now, the global pandemic. You're seeing, civil unrest in this country, in other parts of the world. You're seeing storms and all types of different just signs. You know what I mean? So what is your take on the current events in America, and how has it had an effect on you personally?
So it's probably very interesting. I do not watch the news actually,
Okay.
because right, like I really have never been a big news watcher. Now, with that being said, my husband watches the news all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so I get to hear secondhand everything that's going on, his expression of it. And so for me personally, I am very, the thing I don't like to hear is, of course, I hate to hear of anyone being shot and killed. Not just by the police, just by anyone in general, but yeah, but by the police, right? The people that are supposed to protect and serve us. I hate to hear that. I hate to hear all of those things happening. I feel like we have not come far at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their different opinions about that. And every race has their different opinions about that. But me personally, I just feel like, yeah, no, we may not be where our parents were, or maybe for some people, their grandparents were. We may not be in slavery like back then, but we are still enslaved at some point,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can't get loans for certain things. It's just a whole different type of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people are still being hung, right?
Yeah.
If you go to
Yeah.
certain cities or little towns, there are people probably still being hung there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I try to do is limit the amount of stress
Mm-hmm.
I have to go through. And you see it everywhere, right? And so like I literally did not watch the debate, besides I go to bed at 8 o'clock, but I didn't watch the debate on purpose. And then I was like, I'll just see what people say on social media the next day.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to give me a summary, or maybe I get to watch little snippets and clips of different things that happen.
Right.
And I don't have to put my whole entire, like these hours into all this stressful time. And so for me personally, having to deal with this, I just do not like dig deep into it. I don't allow it to consume me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if it consumes me, then I am going to probably have a completely different outlook on life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't also want to walk around being super paranoid.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. Because that brings on a whole nother amount of stress.
Right.
Right. Like I go out the house and I'm really scared that somebody's going to do something to me. Like, not to say I'm not going to be aware of my surroundings.
Right.
I don't want to get to the point where I'm scared to leave out the house.
Right.
Right. And so, but again, this is just how I look at it and how I deal with it on my end. Yes, I know what is going on, but I just, once something happens, the media takes over and it just gets consumed. Like, it's on every station, local news, national news. It's just, for me, it gets to be too much. Like, yes, I can hear it here and maybe here. And I'm not saying they need to stop. I'm just saying, for me, it's too much. And I think it's great that they bring the awareness to whatever the situation is. I just tend to back myself off some, so I'm not so stressed out about it. Because stress affects us different way. Hair comes out, weight gain, all kinds of things. So
right. I got you. Yeah, that's a very interesting take on that. Just limiting your stress intake, because there are so many different things that we're just going through as individuals in our personal lives. Just the regular, just hustle and bustle of every day, and this, like we're talking about, just trying to maintain, your diet, your intake, because you set goals, whether it's last year and you may be in the current, in the current weight loss or whatever type of thing that you're doing, and now you're faced with all this, all this extra input of outside factors and different things like that. So it is important to make sure you know how to sift through all of that, because stress can have very adverse effects, like you said, hair falling out, lack of sleep, extra paranoia. Personally, I'm a stress eater. I start overthinking, then I'm just, that's like it's a whole bag of chips is going down. It's like, how did they even get in my home? You know what I mean? And
Right.
just things like that. But it's very important to stay centered. The way I stay centered is just, working out. And again, working out first thing in the morning. And there are differences of, when I don't work out first thing in the morning, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put that off, what I'm saying, for a little bit longer. Like right now, it's my time about 12:45, and far as in the 12:45 p.m. So it's like 1:45, your time. And during this time, that's it's different for me to work out around this time. Thank God I have a gym in my home. I can just go to the next room and work out. And even on those times when I'm feeling like I do kind of like how you have your setup of like interval training, and just turn on my timer and just kind of just.
Can you give me? I'm sorry, my husband is calling me.
Okay.
Hold on. What? What? Okay, sorry about that.
Nope, it's all good. I just cut that part off. But yeah, so it's very important to keep keep your mind, keep everything steady. Other than that, it was a great interview and a great great discussion, and great to finally meet you and have an actual real discussion. Please tell everybody where they can follow you at, our website, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever.
So I can be found on Facebook at Zhivi Williams. That's ZHIVI Williams. My Facebook page is open to the public. I can also be found at LBX Fitness on Facebook, LBX Fitness on Instagram, and you can head over to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel at LBX Fitness. And those are all the places you can find me.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you can also catch Miss Zhivi in my Facebook group, Success Fitness Family. She's always there. First one in the morning. I love to see those videos. First time when I turn over and I look at, I'm like, okay, so who posted in the group today? So again, you can join my Facebook group, Success Fitness Family. You'll find our fitness motivational videos, meal prep, as well as workout humors, pics and vids, and the link will be in the description box. Thank you for subscribing to ChristiansWeightSuccess.net. Thank you for subscribing to the Christians Weight Success podcast. And until the next episode, success fitness is the mindset, and always success is golden. Hashtag more weight. Hashtag fight the Rona. Peace out.